Kyle Busch was not happy after he was involved in a late race wreck that began with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Joey Logano. Busch was running in the fifth or sixth position, and he ended up being an innocent bystander and saw his night ended after being involved in the accident. Let's take a look at this before we get to what Kyle Busch had to say right here. This is the wreck you want to focus on: Joey Logano and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in that number 47 Sunny D car, Joey Logano in the number 22 Shell Pennzoil car.
And you're going to see this.
So everything is looking good right here. Joey Logano gets a huge run. He's going to dive to that middle lane. Stenhouse comes down to block it a little bit late. Joey lets off. He tries to go in again, gets blocked. And then Ricky goes in, and then he tries to get in again. And then all kind of mayhem unfolds. And you can see there that Kyle Busch, let's just back it up a little bit real quick. You can see Kyle Busch is almost below the yellow line there already. He does move below the yellow line. And then gets whacked by Stenhouse and goes spinning into the inside there. So that is what happened. That's one angle. Here is the in-car camera for Joey Logano, so we can take a look at this as well. So you can kind of see that he does let off the gas, or you can hear it. Let's take a listen again. So that's what happened there. We do have one more. This is from NASCAR on X. We have Noah Gragson on the top, and then we have Logano again. So let's take a listen to this as well. So you can clearly see that in that replay right there, Gragson is at the back of Logano when he makes contact with Stenhouse, and they eventually end up wrecking. So the line had caught him. The line had caught him at that point. But this is what Kyle Busch had to say to Fox at the end of after he was eliminated from the race.
You're Kyle Busch in position at the end of the Daytona 500 to potentially win it. Unfortunately, innocent bystander coming off of turn 2 over there. How disappointing is this one?
Looks like the fastest car got in a hurry to get to the wreck. Logano was by far the fastest car today. Saw a lot of laps led, and he could about do anything. The Penske cars were very strong. And we still got 20 laps to go, and he's trying to go through the middle and make a hole that isn't there, and just created chaos. So hate it for all of our guys on the Zone Chevrolet. We had a fast car, and we were in position and just kind of biding our time and seeing what was going to happen next. And you got to know how wide your race car is to be able to find a hole that it'll fit in, and he obviously doesn't know that.
Thanks, Scott.
So there you go. Obviously, Kyle Busch putting the blame firmly on Joey Logano. You can see right there where I paused at. Not a happy camper whatsoever, but obviously laying the blame on Joey Logano. Let's listen to what Joey Logano had to say right here. Let's take a listen to this.
47 had a bit of an indecisive moment, and that's what gets in trouble at times, is when you kind of got to pick one. And I went to the second lane. I felt like I had to get in front of the 47 there. I had to get to the second car in my row to have a chance to win the race, and saw my opportunity to get down in front of a Ford with Noah. I felt like we can work well together there, and it just seemed like I was there. We had a late block. I lifted. Looked like he was going to go back up. I went to go back in there. And then he came back down. I was like, start lifting again. And then at that point, the checkup is so big that all the cars behind you are just shoving you into it. And you're just, at that point, you're along for the ride. So I don't know if what to do differently at the moment. I mean, it's easy to say just don't make the move, but not making the move doesn't win the race either. So, it's just, yeah, late race and a late block kind of got us all in trouble.
So that is what Joey Logano had to say right there. I think it's pretty obvious that I agree with what Joey Logano had to say. I think his assessment is pretty much on point. I think that is exactly what we saw right here. We can look at it again if you want to. He does go for that middle line, and I think it was there. That gap was there. Stenhouse blocks it. He does a good job of blocking it. It's a little late, but he does get it done. And then he does look like he's going to go back up the track, and Logano tries to fill it again, and then he lets off again. But then Gragson is there, and the entire field is caught up, and they make contact with each other. Stenhouse goes around, Logano goes around, Ryan Blaney goes around, Kyle Busch goes around, Gragson goes around, and kind of it all hell breaks loose. But we can look at this again to show you what happened. So there's clearly a space here. Now Blaney's up a little bit, but there's clearly a middle lane. You can see Gragson is there. Logano tries to go for it. A good block by Stenhouse. A little late. Gets a little squirrely there. Now, I don't think that there's a gap right here. But Logano, he still has like a lot of speed. I think he did let off, obviously. He's trying to fill this gap again, or just at least get ready to maybe fill it. Because he doesn't actually go forward. He's still in between, right? But he doesn't look like he's really pushing Stenhouse at this point. He's settling in, and then Stenhouse does go up. Like right there, we saw it. We'll back it up a little bit. Stenhouse does go up right there. Now, I don't know if that's Logano maybe giving him a tap. It doesn't look like it. It looks like maybe Stenhouse does move up a little bit, and that line is there now. I mean, Gragson has moved down behind Logano to push him. And now Joey is inside of Stenhouse. There is space there. And, I mean, Kyle Busch still has space at the bottom of the track. He's inside of his quarter panel right here. And then Stenhouse comes down, and he pushes Logano, and Logano gets into Kyle Busch. And then they spin. I mean, I definitely think that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. here is to blame. I mean, you slow it down. Now, obviously, this is all happening within seconds. They're going 200 miles an hour, etc. But it looks like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. here came in with that late block. It worked initially, but then he did get indecisive. He looked like he was going to go back up and try and follow Corey LaJoie because you had John Hunter coming at the top with Denny Hamlin. I think this is Todd Gilliland in the 34 now. And he decided to then come back down. And Joey was already there trying to fill that gap. So I think Kyle Busch is mad at the wrong person. I think there was space there. You can see clearly that Joey had gotten in there, and Kyle is still above that yellow line. There's still a lot of space there, and Joey was able to fill that gap. He knew what the width of his car was, and Stenhouse came down and wrecked everyone there. That's what it looks like to me. But what do you guys make of Kyle Busch being really mad there at Joey Logano? I think he is mad at the wrong person. Obviously, I do think that he is right to be mad. He is trying to compete for his first Daytona 500. It is his 20th opportunity. He was in a position to potentially make a move to win the race. I think in a previous interview or another interview that he gives, that he does say that it would have been really hard to beat either Cindric or Ryan Blaney. But you never know. I mean, those guys try to race each other. They spin out or whatever. Kyle Busch is there, and he ends up being the William Byron and wins the race because that's how William Byron won. Everyone wrecks in front of him, and he's able to kind of drive through. They don't throw the caution, and he wins the race as they race back to the checkered flag. But anyways, let me know what you guys make of what Kyle Busch had to say here. Kind of gave you my opinion, broke it down pretty thoroughly there. But let me know what you guys make of this in the comments below. Do you think Kyle Busch is right? Is Joey Logano at fault? Do you agree with me? Is it Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? Is this just a product of super speedway racing? Because I do think there's something to say for that as well. I think it was David Reagan had a post, and he was just like, super speedway racing is just waiting for the last 25 laps, and then it just becomes a wreck fest and seeing who can survive. And I think that was a pretty accurate statement. And it's pretty damning of the product on super speedway racing. It isn't really a race. It's just surviving the big wrecks at the end. And if you survive, you win. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below.